All right. Got it.
Wonderful. All right, everybody, it looks like we're going to get started. Nobody else is in our waiting room. So hello, welcome to our second Aspiring Educators meeting of the semester. Thank you for everybody for being here. So we're going to start with our speaker, Dawnene Hassett, and then we'll do our other fun announcements afterwards. Like Kate said, if you weren't here before, this meeting is being recorded. So if you don't want your faces in the recording, I would recommend turning your videos off because your face may end up in the recording at some point. But otherwise, I would love to introduce our lovely Aspiring Educators Advisor, Miss Dawnene Hassett. She is also UW professor. Oh, I was just going to give you a lovely intro, Dawnene.
Good.
Give you the honor you deserve. She's also
you sweetheart. Oh, such a sweetie, sweets. Thank you for the honor I deserve. Thank you.
Obviously, she's a jokester too, in addition to being a UW professor. But her expertise.
I meant sweetie sweets. Well, not
her,
a jokester.
Her expertise is in literacy and children's reading education. So Dawnene, I will let you take it away. Feel free to take a little more than 20 minutes if that's what you need, but go right ahead.
Sure. Well, it is just so wonderful to be here and to meet you all. And I was just saying, maybe some of you already heard it, I'm just so proud and happy to be an advisor to this group. As an advisor, my role as your previous advisor is really just to help you make anything happen that you need to make happen. But also, I feel like the Aspiring Educators Group is a place where you might form friendships that will last for your career. It's a way of networking far into your future, no matter where you end up. You'll be able to connect with other people who have been aspiring educators. I just think it's one of the greatest organizations, and I'm so happy to be here. I connected in the chat, and maybe I think, Sienna, I think you sent it too, but this is the handout that I'm going to be using. And so I'm going to share my screen like this. Now I have to look where no, not that. See, this is where the problem comes in, because I just always have too many things open. Let's see, no, not my Kindle. That's coming later. Oh, here. Sorry about the delay. What I want to talk about today and is one of my passions and one of my research interests. Like Santa said, I am a professor here in the Department of Curriculum and Instruction, which is where you're getting your master's degree in the Department of Curriculum and Instruction in elementary education. I am in the literacy area. Whether or not you will or have had classes with me, I am a person, and there's my email right here. I am a person that you can contact at any point in your career if you need some help or tips, even if I haven't been your professor. Once a badger, always a badger is what I like to say, but I also feel that teaching reading and writing and literacy is far too important to have people who graduate from here go, oh gosh, I forgot what was said in that semester. I forgot, what am I supposed to do, or how is that supposed to be? My own research, I also am, just to let you know, I also advise people getting a master's degree in its additional license beyond your elementary education license. You can get a reading teacher and a reading specialist license. And I advise people in that master's program. So if you are ever interested in coming back and looking more deeply into reading and writing, it doesn't have to be when you first start, just keep it in mind. There are master's degrees here for you. It's really a fun, great program. And just wanted to put that out there too. Tonight, I'm going to talk about children's literature and literacy education, which is a lot of what my research is, of what I'm interested in, and I'll describe it a little bit as I go on. But first, I would like to start with a quote from Piglet to Pooh. How do you spell love? Pooh says, you don't spell it, you feel it. And for me, I think children's literature is a way of connecting with students that is far deeper, far, I don't know, more, well, feeling you to the emotions and the social. We talk a lot now about social emotional health, and especially during coronavirus, and especially when we're online. I find right now classrooms that are using children's literature to talk about issues, to talk about anything, are really getting good conversations going, and lots of literacy events happening around them, whether it be you use a book as a springboard for another activity, or just to talk about the book as a way of getting to know your students. So I have 3 categories that I'm going to present tonight. I oftentimes mix these up, but I'm sort of settling into these 3 categories. And I feel being human and understanding, communicating across differences, and the power of imagination to make change could never be more needed than it is right now. And it's not just because of the coronavirus. There's several pandemics happening, I think, at the same time. The racial unrest, the different sorts of ways that people are feeling insecure about their jobs, of housing, about do we have food? There is so much out there. And I think children, yeah, they key into their families, and they also key into their teachers about how we're stressing or not stressing. So the children's literature I'm presenting tonight are around these 3 themes. The first one, being human, I think of a little bit like how you can start talking to children about their own identities, about who they are as people, and under the category of being human. And I might just sort of zoom this out a little bit so that you can see sort of the, oops, I'm not zooming, yeah, we'll zoom one in. Being Human has these books. This is it. I mean, there's way more than these books, but in fact, I just not luckily, I just got a humanities grant for $2,500, which I used to buy all new children's books and for my research and for my work with children. And so I have a personal library here. If you ever need any sort of book, just let me know. If you need any advice about this kind of thing, the CCBC as well is like a way better research than I am. But so the Being Human books, I do think about in terms of how we understand ourselves as people on this earth, how we understand that literacy and learning to read and learning to write is really kind of the core of education in some ways. Because I feel like, here we have, for children, we have all of this information of the world, and it's all stuck in these little codes and sign symbols. Now, if we only worry about the small parts, the phonics and all, which is important, hugely important, but if we only worry about those small things, we're forgetting that to unlock this code means you enter this world of knowledge, of being part of being human. As human beings, this is something we have always done, is storytelling and communication. From cave paintings to all of the so the story, there's part storytelling in here, and there's part who you are. Maybe some of you know the Invisible Boy. It's so sweet. He's very invisible until his friends take his hand, and then he comes like literally invisible in the drawings. And then he comes into color as friends take his hands. There's things like, I am a story. It's written by a story. This is what I am as a story, and it goes through time. I want to share with you tonight Carmela Full of Wishes, which I do have on my Kindle, which I'll share in a second. But first, I thought I'd like you to see the interview with the author and the illustrator.
I'm Matt De La Pena, author of Last Stop
Can
on
you
Market
see it
Street
after I switch
and
out?
our new book, Carmela Full of Wishes.
Okay, let me stop.
No.
And
I think what happens is as soon as I switch out, I have to go share a new share to this one. Okay, got it. And then share. Okay. Yeah, that's such a pain, right? Okay, I'll start it over.
Pena, author of Last Stop on Market Street and our new book, Carmela Full of Wishes.
And I am Christian Robinson, the illustrator of both Last Stop and Carmela Full of Wishes. Carmela Full of Wishes is a story about a young girl who lives in a migrant worker community and is really excited because it's her birthday. And she's finally old enough to go with her older brother to run some errands in their town. And on their journey, she finds a dandelion growing out of the concrete. And so she starts to imagine all the things she can wish for.
The basic concept of the story is very simple. The book is about sibling love and loyalty and family, but there's also like an undercurrent. Around 9 million people living in America today are part of mixed status families like Carmela's, where at least one family member is undocumented. And we wanted to just tell a basic story that takes place in that community. My parents teach in a migrant community in California, and just being around those kids, I wanted a story where they were the stars.
I knew that when illustrating Carmela Full of Wishes, I really wanted to do something really fun and playful with the wishes that she starts to imagine. So I thought maybe I could do something different by using papel picado, which is a traditional Mexican craft where you kind of cut up tissue paper. And so that's the way I tried to visualize each of Carmela's wishes.
What made me excited about Christian's art is I think he did such a great job just paying homage to the vibrancy of Mexican-American culture and neighborhoods like Carmela's.
I haven't seen many stories like Carmela Full of Wishes, and I was really excited to tell a story that isn't often seen in picture books. One of my favorite spreads is a moment when we get to see one of Carmela's wishes. She wishes that her father could be home, but he isn't because he's not able to have his papers in order because he's been deported. I really connected with this moment in the story because even though I don't know what it's like to have a parent taken away by deportation, I know what it's like to have a parent taken away by a system. I hope to connect with young readers and let them know that they're not alone and that their experience and their story matters. To see a character like Carmela in a story could make a lot of difference to a lot of children. I know for me, it would have made me feel less alone and more connected.
All right, well, that is the video. So I'll stop there and I guess I do a new share back to my this. Is that right? So I go stop share and then I go back to this. All right. Sorry for the pauses. The Carmela Full of Wishes, for me, I mean, really just hearing the author and illustrator speak. And one thing I want to say, and I already said up here, the links under the titles will get you to a YouTube of the book being read aloud. So even if I don't read the book to you tonight, this one or any of them, you can hear them being read aloud. And sometimes I put, if there's something else in there. One thing I want to say is that for children's books, and for people of all, it's really an equity issue. The illustrations in children's books carry more information than often the print does. And so the illustrator plays such a huge role. And when kids identify with these books and when they see the kind of art that's being used, and here we have an example where Robinson is using traditional art, which I think is just lovely. Now, I'm a little worried. I'm going to go to my Kindle, but I guess I'll have to reshare. But I do want to just show you a little bit of the book. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Actually, maybe, what do you think? Maybe you saw enough from the first part. What do you think, Sienna?
I think it's up to you. You've
All
only
right.
used about 10 minutes so far, so
Oh, well, I'm
do what
doing
your
really
heart
well.
desires.
We have 3 books to go through. So I'm now going to stop sharing that. And now, oops, hello. I'm back and seeing you, thank heavens. That was way better than seeing my own screen. And then I'm going to my Kindle, wherever it is. Here it is, and share this. So this is my, so here's Carmela Full of Wishes in here. And I think that one of the joys of, I wonder why it's not opening, there it is. one of the joys of actually being able to have online teaching is, first I thought, how are you ever going to read a book to kids when you can't just hold them in your lap, or when you can't, the children, when you can't just show the pictures right there. And it's really nice, and it's not terribly expensive, especially if the school is buying, because we have something like Kindle to show. And of course, I'm not going to read all of it, but I just want to notice what children notice. They notice the pictures. They notice the workers. They notice if it's scenes they know or don't know. Now, if you're reading with older children, because I do believe that children's picture books can be read kindergarten through high school, you could actually talk about the larger part of the story that gets a little bit more deep. But meanwhile, children are just enjoying those pictures, and they're thinking about those kinds of things. And so that's kind of why I wanted to share part of this with you, and even the family home. And how I also like how positively they're representing people who are not the normal white sorts of what we're used to in children's picture books, or animals. There's so much there's so much that really isn't written or spoken about in children's literature, like this particular family. They don't focus on the migrant working at all. They focus on family and brotherhood, sisterhood, love, as you can kind of gather just by looking at this picture. Oops, went the wrong way. And all of them, there's the town, and they're smiling in such a positive view past the crowd. So it's like, it's just really, really descriptive writing too. Past the old folks' home where two hunched old women waved smiles. Past the huge home improvement store where her dad used to stand around weekend mornings waiting for work. Carmela tried to make small talk with her brother as their metal cart rattled, but her brother didn't make small talk back. He didn't want her tagging along. Too bad, she told him with her glare. So really, the book is not about anything but this relationship between brother and sister. And take me along with you. Where are you going? You're my older brother. Why can't I be with you? And so then she finds this dandelion, and she makes these wishes. And so, part of it comes true because there's the brother, doing well. I'll let you read it yourself. So I'm going to stop sharing this part here, but you can see through the pictures themselves, and oh my gosh, the beautiful writing. One thing I want to say about beautiful writing is that books that are written authentically for children have way more vocabulary than anything you could ever get from any standard reading series, or anything that is like, here, we'll teach the vocabulary of the science lesson, and now you'll know the different cloud types. No, this is like real vocabulary that can really describe. And so I appreciate that a lot. My next category is understanding and communicating across difference. And I love this category for many reasons, but because it's more, because first of all, I love it for many reasons. One of them is like just even understanding what it's like to be something other than yourself puts you in a position where you can develop empathy and understanding for each other, but also, and which so I was about to say freaking needed right now. I did say freaking, so freaking needed right now. But I also appreciate this category because we can have differences, but we still have to know how to communicate across them. We still have to know, when I think about our country right now and how divided it is, and really, honestly, we're all part of this country, and we all have certain things that we want for this country. And I bet we're closer than not. I'm going to share with you, Can I Touch Your Hair? Not all of it. It's a book of, I'm going to again go to my new share and back to Kindle. And back here, no, I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, I'm going to find, can I touch your hair? Oh, here, I gotta go library. Duh. Can I Touch Your Hair is it's a book of poems about race and mistakes we make as we try to figure each other out. And this particular book is not the best on Kindle, but my goodness, you can't even hardly see it. Oh, here, I gotta view my thing. Zoom in, way in. Okay. Oops, that was maybe too far in. My apologies. Thank you, future educators. So you can see there's even a table of contents. And here's an example of a book that you can read poems one at a time to children. You can sort of hear it, or you can read it slowly throughout a couple of weeks, one a day. Excuse me. But also it suggests to me too that this can be and should be used with middle school students to do these kinds of writing. It can be a springboard for thinking about how you yourself want to write or think about poetry and difference. The whole premise of the book is that these two children in this classroom, they're doing a poem together. And so this first poem is about the poem project. When a teacher says, pick a partner, my body freezes like a ship in ice. I want Patty Jean, but Madison has already looped arms with her. Within seconds, you never know what he's going to say. Charles is the only one left. How many poems? Someone asks. About what? Someone else asks. Do they have to be true? Mrs. Vandenberg holds up her hand. Write about anything. It's not black and white. But it is. Charles is black and I'm white. That's her first thoughts. His first thoughts are, Mrs. Vandenberg wants us to write poems. Finally, an easy project. Words fly off my pen onto the paper like writing is my superpower. The rest of the time, the words are a curse. I open my mouth and people run away. Now I'm stuck with Irene. She hardly says anything. Plus, she's white. Her stingy dishwater blonde hair waves back and forth as she stutter steps toward me. He's got some descriptive words. You can tell he does like to think about language. My stomach bottoms out. Hello, I say. Hi, she says. I surprise myself by smiling at her. She smells like a mix of perfume and soap. We stare at our sneakers before I ask, so what do you want to write about? She shrugs. I say, how about our shoes, hair? Then we can write about school and church. She takes a deep breath. Okay, I match it. Let's start here. So they start by writing with their shoes, about their shoes. And so she's like, I want Ruby shoes. And, and he wants these Nikes. And so it's just, it's about difference, yet it's about also your our abilities as people to be able to understand where each other's coming from, and understanding that we're uncomfortable being together, but then you get to find some sort of commonalities. Even if she wants Ruby shoes and he wants these fancy Nikes, these both, they both are thinking it's kind of I think you have to read the whole thing because it explores all of the issues about race that teachers are often afraid to broach in their own classrooms. And this is another thing that children's literature can do. It can help you, the teacher, who does want to talk about these things, but you don't maybe know how. But then you can say later, well, remember when those two kids in that book, that poetry book, were starting to talk with each other and they had different views about these sorts of things. You can start talking about it through children's literature. So I find it, I use it all the time. I always say to, Lily's purple plastic purse to this day is something that I would use in classrooms because she always had this jingly purse and stuff. And the teacher takes it away and wants to put it on his desk. And so, and she's like, oh, don't take it, but I would read that in kindergarten, first, third grade and say, to somebody who's like doing something. You know, I remember this one kindergarten kid around Halloween time had this. He was a boy who had a, well, it was basically a jingle bell painted like a pumpkin. And he was like jingling, jingling, jingling and jingling. And I just looked and said, you remember what happened to Lily? In Lily's purple plastic purse? Well, I'm doing the same thing. It can either stay in my desk or it can hang on your neck, but you can't make a sound. Otherwise it's going away forever. And sounds really harsh, right? I would never do that personally, but I put it in the context of a book. Genius. And they're like, oh, all right. I don't trust myself for not jingling it. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about these kinds of things. So then I am going back to my share. Here we go. And again, as you look at these, oh, Not Quite Narwhal is so sweet too. I mean, all of them. So two of them here are, Jerome by Heart is about two boys who really love each other as kids. And at one point, one of the father or the mother, I can't remember, I think it was both the parents, just said, you know, that's you're just living a little too close. And you know, I really love Jerome. And how that all works out. And Not Quite Narwhal also is a story you can read to kindergartners and first graders and second graders that explores the idea of people being able to love, or beings being able to love anybody they want to love, and also how you can shift and change identities. And, you know, and so this introduces that topic. And most kids might not think one way or the other, but they're really listening to the story. But, you know, there might be a kid in your class who's really feeling already out of place. Like, I don't belong here. I don't feel like I belong in my body. For example, I don't feel like I was born the right gender. That they can't say it that way. But you read some of these books and it also helps the children feel comfortable in your classroom. And that is the most important thing, is to develop a classroom environment where this kind of love can happen. I don't know what more to say about the power of imagination to make change. The reason why I call it educational freedom is that when children have choices in the books that are out and available for them to play with during center time, anything you read, you should put out in a center and say you can play with it, or leave a recording device, even a phone or whatever, and right there to, I want you to tell me your thoughts after looking at it further, because there's so much in the pictures that we didn't talk about. I want you to, you know, there's all kinds of ways of putting books into the classroom. I think that what I have for us today, I think what I'm going to do, you know what, I kind of feel like Pluto gets the call. And this is the, I'll show you, I'll switch my new share to my here.
Pluto gets the call.
What I love about this
someone's going to call.
particular one.
Are they calling to invite me to a...
What I like about this particular reading of it is that they circle. Can everybody see the screen? Yes. They circle who's speaking. And this is something by Lori Keller, who also did Arnie's a Donut and Arnie the Donut and all kinds of other things. This book is about Pluto gets the call to say, you're no longer a planet. My God, how traumatic would that be? Hello, I've been a planet all my life. It's kind of like that.
I love parties.
Someone's gonna call.
By Adam Rex, with pictures by Lori Keller.
All right, then, call him.
No way! I'm not calling him.
Well, don't look at me.
Hi, over here, behind the ice and all those other guys. It's me, Pluto, the 9th planet.
It's great to see you. We don't get a lot of visitors out here in the Kuiper Belt. It's this huge ring around the sun that's full of frozen stuff. It's kind of my neighborhood. No big deal.
Just to stop there too, the Kuiper Belt and all that, these are real scientific things. And so depending on who your students are in the class, certain students might get interested in that. And I honestly feel that now is the time to do more inquiry-based instruction where we really pay attention to what the students are doing and give some of our own control up. I think that we are now at a point where we need to sort of dismantle schools the way we're thinking about them. We've already taken away standardized tests. Who knew that could happen? So yay. But I think too, like, you let kids sort of go on. All right, sorry, I'm interrupting myself.
So, not to brag, but I'm mostly made of nitrogen.
Ooh, nitrogen. So whoa.
I'm almost as big as the Earth's moon.
Pluto diameter 1,500 miles. Moon diameter 2,000 miles.
I'm really cold.
Temperature minus 369 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 223 degrees Celsius. Close-up of label, handmade by Uranus.
And I have a big heart on my belly because I love being a planet. Hold on a second. That's my phone. You got Pluto. Oh, what a coincidence. I was just talking to someone from Earth. Sorry, I should take this. What? What do you mean I'm not a planet anymore? Why am I not a planet anymore? Okay. Thank you for calling. That was just some scientists from Earth. They say I'm not a planet anymore. No biggie. They asked if I'd like to be known as the solar system's largest ice dwarf. And I was like, how would you like to be known as the Earth's meanest jerks? Huh? I didn't really say that. I'm sorry. You were probably hoping to hang out with some real planets. Let me show you around. Psst, Neptune, are you awake?
What?
This is Neptune. He's closer to the sun than me, but he's still so far away that it takes him 165 years to orbit all the way around.
So the rest of the book, as you can kind of see, he goes through, Pluto goes visiting all his planet friends and sort of trying to help him get through this moment of being a large ice dwarf instead of a planet. Hello. Could you ever be told that? I don't know what I'd do. But anyway, while he's going around, there's so many facts about this. And I know that solar systems are taught in certain kinds of grades, but every kid likes to know pieces of it. And as we go on, we can learn more and more about it. And I think it just leads to more research projects, more questions. And here's what I'm telling you as teachers: you let the kid drive the questions. You figure out what they want to know once you put something like that in their laps. So I think that's pretty much the gist of the three categories. In closing, I would want to say that anything is possible with our imaginations, and children's literature has a way of inspiring kids to imagine more, imagine differently. Like, who would have thought about writing a book about Pluto, how Pluto felt? You know, you can write about anything, you can draw about anything, you can, so I feel like the more we can talk about our feelings and our ways of being with each other and the difficulties, also leads to more and more, like, even research questions that young children, even well through middle school and high school as well, that our students have. So I think I went a little longer, like a lot longer. I'm very sorry.
That's totally okay, Dawnene.
And that's it. And I just want to thank you for being our future educators. I just think the world of you. You are coming in at a very weird time right now, but you got this. And if you don't, call me or email me.
Do you mind staying on for just 1 second if we
Sure.
if anybody has any questions?
Oh, of course.
Does anybody have any questions for Dawnene about anything she shared?
Oh, your comments are so wonderful.
Yes, we were engaging with you while you were sharing.
Well, I couldn't read at the same time. I could only multitask so much. There's
yeah,
enough
no,
of the screen sharing.
Don't worry, it's kind of fun to comment too. Well, thank
I
you so
love
much,
that.
Dawnene. We're so lucky to have a resource like you.
No,
as our
listen, you're
sponsor.
welcome. Yeah, well, my research is really about listening to what the children are imagining as they're reading. And, so it's really fun research too. So if you're ever thinking about PhDs, it's nothing but fun. Uh, if you do have questions, you have my email. So I just thank you very much for having me tonight.
Absolutely, Dawnene. Thank you so much.
Dawnene.
And we know you've had a long day, so don't feel like you have to stay for the rest of our meeting if you want to
Well,
head
I don't feel that way.
out. Okay.
I feel like I can smell something from the kitchen, which smells good. I'm sorry to talk about okay. Bye. Thank you so much. Have a great
Bye,
rest of your
Dawnene.
evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, so much love for that woman. She is wonderful. Yeah, so she is our advisor, everybody. So if you ever have any questions, she's a wonderful resource to have. We are so lucky to have her. But we have if you guys want to hang out for a few more minutes, we just have a couple of announcements, updates, and all that good stuff for you. So I'm going to share my screen now, if I can.
Yeah, no, really quick. Do you remember what class we took with Dawnene? Was that
Curriculum 3 something?
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's a literacy / reading.
Emma, Molly, you remember? Liz, you remember?
8 or 369. I can't remember which. One of those.
Yeah, we took a class with Dawnene.
Love her so much.
I know, she's so wonderful. Yeah, we took a class with Dawnene our first semester of our program. So I think I don't know how often the professors change, but if you're planning on pursuing the special ed and elementary ed program, Dawnene was our reading professor. So you may see her again in the future. All right, are we good to share exec board?
Yes.
Ready to move on? Okay. All right, can everybody see my screen? Okay, I'll take that as yes. All right, so welcome. Kind of move past that part. All right, well, we started with Dawnene. Now we're going to move on to in the field, in the world, and in Madison. Oh, here's the slide with the link for that document that Dawnene shared. So if anybody wants to access that, you can access that in the follow-up email. All right, here we go. In the field.
Okay, cool. So I chose this Instagram account. It's one of my favorites personally. It's called Educators for Justice. And I think I found them like around the end of May, just when things in America just got a little crazy. And obviously justice became a really big deal for everybody, more than it already was. So found this account, really love it. And they do little like Instagram lives on Sundays with Dr. Angel Jones. I think she might be the owner of the account because she's always the host of the meetings. And then she has guest speakers that are all professionals. So that's really cool. They're only like an hour long every Sunday, and it's Instagram live, so it's free and short, and you can go in and leave whenever you want to. And I think it's really cool, and I like it a lot.
Thanks, Jenna. In the world.
In the world, I'm going to be honest, I missed the first presidential debate, so I thought it'd be important to notify the dates, October 15th at 8 p.m. and October 22nd at 8 p.m. And then the vice president debate is October 7th at 8 p.m. So that is tomorrow.
Thanks, Mary. In Madison.
There is a diversity forum that is happening October 27th to the 28th with guest speakers discussing issues about racial equity and social justice to disparities in healthcare and white privilege. And I looked at some of like the breakout groups they have, and they seemed really interesting. And I think it would be good to learn about the topics they discuss.
Chloe, do you know if there's a date you have to sign up by?
I looked, and as of now, they do not have any date saying you need to sign up by a certain time.
Okay, great. So sign up until the day of, it sounds like. All right, updates. So mentor program, that's me. So if you guys have been in Inspiring Educators before, you've heard of our mentor program, but if you haven't, a mentor program is where we have one underclassman and one upperclassman. Sometimes there's 2 and 2, depends on the numbers we have, but we pair you in partnerships, and the point of those partnerships are to be a partnership that's engaging for you, that can help you along your journey to becoming a teacher, to make more friends, to have a buddy to go to virtual Aspiring Educators events with. And it's just supposed to be supportive, cooperative, and engaging for both of you. Most of us have been on the board, have been in the mentor program, and we found that we've benefited from being in this program in the past. So if you're interested, the sign up deadline is until October 13th, which I believe is next week, Tuesday. Correct me if I'm wrong. Monday? I don't remember. It's sometime next week. But if you're interested in being in this mentor program, we have 2 links. So if you're a freshman or sophomore, you're going to take this first link. And then if you are a junior or senior, you're going to click on the second link. It's a super simple Google form, shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes. It just gives us general information about you so that we can put you in the best pair with somebody either in the program or hoping to be in the program that's the same as you, so you get the most out of the partnership. I want to say a bonus of being in the mentor program is it's kind of fun. I know this semester all of our events are virtual just to stay safe and healthy, but you can go to like virtual events together. So next week, Friday, we have Caramel Apple Night. So it might be kind of fun to take your friend, your new mentor mentee to virtual Caramel Apple Night. So that's something to look forward to if you want to be a part of the mentor program, and other things to come. So if you have any questions after the meeting or want to email us, let us know. Outreach.
Perfect. So October outreach is going to be on October 14th at 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And it is reducing math anxiety among your students. So I thought this would be really good if you're going into STEM education or any of those kind of fields, if you're looking to middle school or high school. And it's through the Delta program, which is a teaching as research program within UW that's partnered with the National Science Foundation. So that's pretty cool. And to go to the event, you click that link and you get to make a little free account through Delta, and it will send you notifications on other STEM education opportunities. So I think this is going to be pretty cool. So I'm excited.
And Sophie, is there any deadline to register?
Nope, no deadline to register. You can register, I think, till day of.
Cool. Wonderful. Thank you. Fundraising.
Oh my goodness, who's excited for next Friday? I am. Caramel Apple Night. Anyone and everyone is welcome. So they do not have to be in the club. I'm making my roommates call onto the phone and do it with us. It is going to be so fun. Your caramel apple kits will be delivered I'm making them this weekend, so they will be delivered next week before Friday. And a buzz or I'll leave by your packages. Sign up, it's only $5 and you get your choice of toppings. We're talking M&Ms, peanuts, Jimmy's, the sprinkles. It'll be exciting.
And if you'd like to participate and get the caramel apple kit, we do ask that you send $5 via our Venmo account, which is it this link right here, Mary?
I'm so sorry. The one on the corner on the right is to register, and then the one that's the square is the Venmo.
Okay, is the Venmo. And then, yeah, you're still welcome to participate, even if you don't want the caramel apple kit, or if you don't want to make caramel apples, but I think that's going to be super fun. Thanks, Mary, for setting all that up. All right, voting information and announcements. This page, for all of you, like I said, you will get this PowerPoint in our follow-up email. And on this page, we have linked all of the resources you need in order to vote. I think most of us, or many of us, should be 18 or older, so you are able to vote. If you need to know how to register to vote, where to request your absentee ballot, or if you're going to vote in person, and then to figure out what's on your ballot so that you know going in day of or before you get your absentee ballot. All these links are there for you. And if you need additional resources or additional help, we are here to help you, walk you through it. It is very important to vote this year. So vote, vote, vote. And then additional resources. Anybody want to share about this?
I just got an email about it, so I'll include it in the follow-up email, and it will have like all of the information on there.
Wonderful. Teachers on call.
Yep.
And then, unless the e-board has anything else to share, we'll wrap up with telling you that our next meeting is on October 20th at 6:30 p.m. And Sophie, I think, has a wonderful guest for us. And this is our social media, so follow us on social media if you haven't already. And then that is the end of our meeting. So thanks everybody for coming. And if you have any questions, feel free to stay on or to send us in the chat. Otherwise, you're free to go. So thank you for coming. We really appreciate that you're here. See you on the 20th.